Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right. In vitro fertilization. I mean, who hasn't wanted to talk about in vitro fertilization for a while and the political implications of it? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't either. Well, we'll just end this video now. Thank you very much. No, okay. So, the story goes in Alabama, in Mobile, I believe, there was an in vitro fertilization clinic that had some embryos frozen in their cryogenic chambers behind an unsecured door. A patient in the hospital walked through that unsecured door, pulled some of the embryos out of the cryogenic freezer. Now, mind, this is probably liquid nitrogen, so -80 is cold, and that's going to burn you like nothing. And the patient got freezer burn on their hands or whatever, and then dropped the embryos on the ground, killing the embryos. The parents, two of the three families impacted, two of them brought this person to court and basically wanted to charge them for the killing of their embryos. And the courts, the original court ruled, no, this doesn't fit under the definition of a child or a person. But the Supreme Court overturned it. And I'm assuming, I didn't read all the way through the article, but I'm assuming the logic is that, if fertilization begins at birth, these things were fertilized, therefore they're alive human beings, so that accounts to, manslaughter or involuntarily killing some human beings. So now they will be able to incarcerate or punish this person for killing those embryos. What that has caused, though, is an incredible backlash and a lot of Republican lawmakers backing away from that court's decision, including Donald Trump and Nikki Haley, who both feel that, okay, because of this ruling, couples that have had embryos through IVF, they'll have to think twice about having IVF. Because what happens if you decide not to have the embryos? Is that murder of these embryos? Is that what happens? Because that's the law. If you get these things killed, you've committed murder. Not only that, the in vitro fertilization clinics are going to have to charge way more money because there's going to have to be all sorts of insurance and liability and stuff like that. That's going to happen because what happens if there's a power outage or a lab tech or something like that accidentally exposes or kills one of the embryos? They're going to be sued to heck and back for involuntary manslaughter or something along those lines. This would basically kill IVF in Alabama. And the Republicans are like, oh, well, we in Trump are all saying we should allow people to have access to IVF. Well, no, you don't. Because according to your definition, your draconian state of Gilead, Handmaid's Tale definition of when life begins, it's when the sperm fertilizes the egg, aka an embryo. So if you kill off these embryos, you basically are murdering people, and whatever draconian laws you put into place should be enacted on these people. That's pretty much it. Never mind the fact that when you do IVF, when they put the embryos into a woman's womb, they don't usually put just one in. They usually put several in to hope that one or two of them take. And they might have to remove some if too many take. This is where you get the quintuplets and stuff like that in there, or the octomom type scenarios. But now you can't do that. Now you can't do that. So this is just one of those unintended consequences of your laws. And this is I'm sorry to say, and I disagree with the Alabama court's ruling, but if they're going to go by that parameter, the Alabama court's ruling is following the law exactly as they passed it. And now y'all want to back away from it? You want to make exceptions? That's a slippery slope, isn't it? See, the thing with draconian laws and stuff like this is they want to take out the gray. They want to make it as black and white as possible. You know what the law is. You know what the right side and the wrong side is. Because a lot of the people that support the GOP, the conservatives, they don't like gray. They like things very, very structured and very, very black and white. Being in any type of uncertain situation or gray zone panics the hell out of them. That's why they're conservative. They don't want any change because change is gray zones and change is bad. Because they don't know, they don't have the emotional tools to handle it. What's the energy around this IVF reading? The Republicans wanted this. They got it. Congratulations. Now you get to deal with it. The government. This is your Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. This sending it back to the states. This is the states making their very draconian laws. And this is the courts in those states now upholding the very draconian laws that the states put in place. That now all of a sudden, that devil's agreement, they're not so happy about that soul they just sold there. Maybe they didn't quite get a good price for it. Crossed with the Queen of Cups. Violating women's rights yet again. The whole point of these things, these laws, these draconian laws, is to impact women and their ability to make their decisions. It's controlling women. And not only that, the GOP is long... Empress, what a wild card, because she's a pregnant woman. The GOP has long been concerned that white women aren't having as many babies. So they're trying to do everything they can to force white women to have babies. The majority of abortions are not young women using it as birth control. It's women in their 40s that have had a couple of kids, they don't want any more, and whoopsies, got pregnant. The GOP wants those people to have babies because, well, that's another GOP voter in the making. Underneath it all, again, it's about women's reproductive rights. The Empress is a pregnant woman here. So trying to keep a cap on women, their reproductive rights, and having the government interfere. Because any woman's decision on her pregnancy should be between her doctor, and her state representative. Clearly. In the past, we have the Knight of Pentacles. A lot of money came in to support the overturning of Roe v. Wade. A lot of money came in from the Evangelicals to the states to overturn women's rights. That's been the Republican message. That's been their frickin' family values. Congratulations, boys. You got what you wanted. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it. Now that you get it, you got to deal with it. Current situation is the Emperor. The Emperor has no clothes. It's like, again, a number of GOP members are trying to back off from this. But you wanted the draconian rules. You wanted the draconian king. Congratulations, you've got the Emperor. And now they're just enforcing the laws that you put in place because your values are to control women and their pregnancies and their bodies. Because you want families. Not just any families, mind you. You want white families, right? Because what could be better than more white people in the United States? Don't want those nasty old non-white people coming in here. Back to the 50s. We just don't know what century. 1950s, 1850s, 1750s, maybe even the 1650s. Maybe we want to go back to 950. I hope you can hear the disgust in my voice. Oh, these people. The lesson to be learned, the naivety of it all. They thought they had this nice, simple plan about families, and they were going to force everybody into their values using the government as a cudgel to, again, control women and their bodies and their reproductive rights. Outcome is the Four of Swords. They're going to have to retreat a little bit and think what they want to do. I think, well, already some Republicans are starting to push back on this, that maybe we don't want to do this. How are you going to convince the Evangelicals? How are you going to carve this one out? Because now you're splitting. King Solomon, with your sword, you're going to cut that embryo right in half? Is that what we're going to do? That Four of Swords is, they didn't think this through. They absolutely didn't think this through. To me, this is a natural consequence of your decisions. And you should be embracing it. Wholeheartedly embracing it. This is exactly what the GOP wanted. Oh, it wasn't? Wow, you'd have thought that all these brilliant GOP lawmakers and money behind them would have thought this one through. I suppose maybe they'll make some type of income level where you can back out of it if your income's above a certain level, or if you pay a fine or something along those lines. Who knows? I'm sure money will be involved, though. But welcome to your draconian world. Welcome to the state of Gilead. Welcome to your Handmaid's Tale. This is what y'all wanted. What's next? If a woman has a miscarriage, is she going to be charged with involuntary manslaughter? Because that's right up there too, right? That's right in there. That's exactly... You can't rule it any other way. Unless she gets an abortion, which it is voluntary manslaughter. Or murder, if you like. If those embryos are impregnated... Can you imagine a couple going through a divorce? The woman has a dozen of these fertilized embryos and wins custody of them. Those are humans. Shouldn't she be collecting child support for all 12 of her babies? Effective immediately, right? They need to be taken care of. They're in cryo. Maybe they don't need a baseball hat and a new pair of shoes or something like that, but hey, girls got to live. What's the GOP going to do about this problem that they've created? This Frankenstein monster. Actually, no. What I really want to know is, how is this, more importantly, well, I can ask about the GOP, but what I really want to know is, how is this going to impact the evangelicals in the GOP versus the non-evangelicals? The pro-lifers versus the ones who say they're pro-life. Because that's really it right here, right? This is another fracturing issue in the GOP. How will the conservatives who think this is a bad idea, you're like Nikki Haley or Donald Trump or anybody like that who thinks this is a bad idea, how are they going to sell this to the evangelicals who are 100% behind the idea that human life starts upon the sperm fertilizing the egg? And there we go. Pregnant women. The Empress. Here we go. How are you going to sell this? These are both my pregnant cards. The mom with the baby, the grandmom with the grandchild. Here we go. Pregnant woman leads to babies. And we all like those white ladies having babies, don't we? And then there's the law. The law is underneath it. They've changed the laws about pregnancy and childbirth. How are the conservatives and the evangelicals going to handle this? Before they were in bed together. Excuse me? Oh my! We're not supposed to talk about those same-sex relations, are we? All you white men? I guess if the Republicans stayed with old white men having relations with old white men, you wouldn't be getting women pregnant and having babies, then having all that child support. But this is the evangelicals and the Republicans coming together and catching up their brilliant plan of controlling women and changing the laws to control women. How's that working out now? How's that agreement going to shift here? Oh, maybe it wasn't such a good deal after all. Really? Who could have seen that coming? Yeah, the sarcasm is strong in this reading. You haven't heard quite all the laughs yet, but you're getting a hefty dose of sarcasm. Because you effing idiots. Another sidebar. Republicans like room temperature IQ people to follow them, folks without good critical thinking skills. I guess that also applies to their deal makings and such. I mean, we'll put the Marjorie Taylor Greens off to the side here as outliers, but the Republicans tend to think of themselves as very highly educated and smart. Yet y'all made that decision because it was politically convenient and got you into into power. But literally, the dog has caught the car. What are you going to do now? Because now you're in a nightmare situation with people that make up a very big and passionate percentage of your party. They don't know how they're going to get out of this. They don't know how they're going to negotiate this. Because guess what? These folks are freaking fanatics. They're not going to give this up. Are you kidding me? They're not going to allow for IVF factories to get away with killing babies or embryos, as the case may be. And the GOP, conservatives, they've done this to themselves. How do you get out of this? Because now these very same evangelicals who believe they're doing God's work don't compromise on anything and are cult-like followers of the Bible, which they probably have never read. Well, maybe some have. How do you negotiate with them? You can't. They're terrorists. You can't negotiate with terrorists. Remember that Reagan line? You should have also remembered the Barry Goldwater Jr. line about inviting the evangelicals in there when he warned you that they will not negotiate ever because they're doing God's work. And how do you compromise God's work? The lesson to be learned: you effed with women. Woman. You did this to yourselves. This was a foolish move. Women tried to tell you not to do this. Supporters of women have told you not to do this. This was a fool's errand what you did. And here's the thing. I think a lot of the normal GOP politicians understood that this whole thing about Roe v. Wade and overturning it, it was never meant to pass. It was just something to fundraise off of. You get all the money from the evangelicals that we're going to overturn this. Just, empty out your purse into my little wallet here so I have all your cash. Well, they got enough people on the Supreme Court that they got it overturned. Congratulations. Foolish decision on your part. Now you get to live with the consequences of it, and you don't know how to get out of this nightmare situation. You should be leaning into it, right? This is your happy family moment. You wanted this. This is your reward for your agreements. And I don't think the evangelicals are going to really understand why you would want to change the laws that you promised them that you were going to put in place. I don't think they're going to take very kindly to it. Why would you do such a thing? We've gotten everything we've always wanted, remember? You promised us you were going to overturn that law. You stacked the courts. We gave you money. You managed to get the courts to overturn it. It got sent back to the states. The states, with all their courts, enacted these laws, and everything's hunky dory. We're all in the same lovely white Handmaid's Tale, La La Land together. Why would you want to change that? Man, I'm going to have to do some breathing. I should pause and do my heavy breathing exercises. I'm such a dork. Oh, Lordy. Have all the mercies. Okay. How are the evangelicals going to feel about the Republicans trying to walk this back? How are the evangelicals going to feel about the Republicans and the Republican Party as they try to walk this back? Oh God, it's just going to be amazing. The Republican Party really does have three factions. Now there's going to be overlap, but you have conservatives, you've got the Freedom Caucus MAGA Putin faction, and you've got the evangelicals. And there's some evangelicals that are going to be in the Putin caucus and some that are in the conservative realms. But generally speaking, those are three of the big groups. How are the evangelicals going to handle the situation if the Republicans try and reverse course? Nine of Wands. I think they're going to remind them that this was part of the plan. This is supposed to be part of the plan all along. We've stolen all these women's rights. Just like, we've helped you with the elections and gerrymandering. Oh, God. This is the natural progression of gerrymandering. This is when you gerrymander, you promote the advancement of extremists. Because it's not the Democrat you have to worry about to obtain your seat. It's being primaried by a more extreme Republican. This is the natural consequence. I asked about evangelicals. I may not get the answer. Yep, this is the fate. This is the fate you've chosen. Congratulations. This was your path. You've stolen votes. You've stolen districts. And you've started this wheel coming on your end. And now you don't know how to get out of it. Congratulations. You got everything you wanted. It really is a devil's agreement. They got everything they wanted. It was all part of their plan. And now they have to sleep in the bed that they made. That did not answer my question, though, about how the evangelicals will feel. Now, if we do read those cards that way, the evangelicals say, well, this is all part of the plan. We got what we wanted. Why would you want to change it? If the Republicans carve out exceptions for in vitro fertilization, what will the evangelicals do? I'm really curious about this. They can't be taking it lying down. I can't see a situation where they take this lying down. It's God's work. We were told, God said that life begins when the sperm hits the egg. Embryos. How are the evangelicals going to handle it when the Republicans try and change things? Winner takes all. No. All for one and one for all. No, we won this one. You're not taking this victory away from us. No, we don't like your offers. No, we got what we wanted. There's your Nine of Cups again, the smug merchant. We got what we wanted. We're doing God's work. There is no compromise in this. I don't care what you offer. No, it ain't happening. We worked hard for this. We fundraised for this. We gave you the money, and we made this thing happen. Because families, it's all about our family values, and they are passionate about it. Oh, this is not going to end well for the Republicans. The evangelicals they're as expected, they will dig their feet in. They're doing God's work for families. They're not going to listen to offers to water this thing down. They've worked long and hard for this. They've donated their money and their time. They've got everything they wanted. The hell they're about to give all that up. And you can fight them over it, but man, this is Frankenstein's monster. And you've unleashed it on society. Congratulations. You're getting everything you deserve with it. With that, we will leave this reading because the fight's just beginning. And on the one hand, this again, it's another setback for women's reproductive rights, but you're already getting your rights taken away. This is just kind of them maybe not fully playing the tape all the way through type of moment. And now you get to watch the Republican Party start to fracture and split. And when they start doing that, they will no longer be a very viable party until they reform. So while they are fracturing and splitting and not reforming, that's when the Democrats can get into office and they can codify a bunch of laws that protect our elections and protect women's reproductive rights, and then the rights of the LGBTQ community and other groups that are marginalized. All because the Republicans wanted Donald Trump, and they wanted power so bad that they agreed to pony up with the Putin faction and the Evangelicals and stuff like that. They have their coalition. One of their members of the coalition got exactly what they wanted. It was never expected to happen, and now they're dealing with the consequences of their extremism. Couldn't happen to a nicer party. Anyways, thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your likes and your shares and your comments and everything you do to help support this channel so that it makes it out to a wider audience. To folks who are just discovering this channel, welcome. Glad you found us. Hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.